What's going on, NWB? It's natural junior bodybuilder Nick Wright, and I want to touch on something that I feel a lot of people are A, confused about, or B, just completely unsure of in general. And that's the perfect bench press technique, meaning the stance of your bench press. Now, in the last video, we got into what I've been doing recently to bring up my chest, because obviously my chest is my one major weak point, my one major lagging point, and I've been working a lot on bringing some more thickness to it in this recent off season, and so far it's been going well. And we got into what I've been doing personally to help improve my chest in the last video we did. So now I want to touch on some subjects and some questions that last video brought up, like what is the perfect bench press stance? Meaning, do I keep my feet up in the air like I see some people do? Why do they do that? Do I keep my feet on the ground? Is it okay if I wear shoes or barefoot? Do I keep my back straight? And the biggest one, is it better to keep my elbows into my sides or out at a 90 degrees angle? Which one works your chest more? Which one's more dangerous? Which one's more effective? There's a tons of questions, and the bench press is actually very easy to mess up in terms of a lot of people will jump on the bench press like I did, gain a lot of strength like I did, see a lot of your other muscles build up like I did, but your chest will not grow like mine didn't. So check it out. I'm going to break this down today and show you guys exactly what I have found has made the biggest difference, because you'll find with bench pressing, the littlest moderation will make the biggest difference, and what the actual stance you should be using if you're looking to bodybuild is, and what each stance does for you. Okay, now the first part of the bench press is, of course, planting your feet. Most people don't realize this is important, and sometimes you'll see people lifting with their feet up on the bench like so. That's simply to get your balance down, incorporate your core a little bit, and it really isolates your chest and stops you from driving with your feet. That's fine, but that's a totally different goal. For now, the basic bench press is first planting your feet. That's why I always tell people to bench press in shoes so you can really plant your feet down. So how you're going to go into a perfect bench press form is two factors. One, keeping your butt on the bench, and keeping your upper back / shoulders on the bench. The way to do that, to incorporate the best power stance, is to first start off with your feet on the bench like so. Grab the bar, pull yourself up, drive your back into the bench, position it where you want to be on the bench. Make sure you're not too far under here because you're going to hit the pegs. Position your back right where you want it to be when you start bench pressing. Then take each leg, plant it on the floor, and then plant your butt down. This is going to be your perfect power stance for powerlifting in general, and you can use a little bit less extreme version of this for bodybuilding as well. And this is going to help you drive from your feet a little bit and really drive your back into the bench, helping you move heavier weight. Now the key is keep your butt on the bench, because you're going to want to lift it up as you drive with your feet. That's the biggest mistake you can make, is one, it's not correct form and you will get fouled if you're trying to power lift. Two, it helps drive your torso up from the bottom, making it more of a decline motion, which is going to make your triceps work a little bit more. It's going to ultimately make the lift a little bit easier for you. And three, it's going to really lead to injury really fast. So the perfect stance is butt planted, back planted, feet planted, and lift. Now that you have your actual positioning and posture down, the biggest question comes to your stance. How wide do you grip the bar? How far out or far in do you keep your elbows? Okay, now powerlifting and football coaches will teach you to keep your elbows in, pinned against your sides. This is going to really activate your front delts, your triceps, even a little bit of your back in certain ways to help push. So this is going to inevitably give you more power, more strength, to be able to move more weight, but because you're using so many other muscles to assist the push, you're not going to be isolating your chest. Now, some bodybuilders will tell you probably to keep your elbows out to a 90-degree angle, way out on either side of you. In fact, I even used to preach this as well, but like I said, I've never been an online guru. I've always been just an athlete that shares what I do as I progress. And obviously, as I progress, I learn new information and I correct myself. So I've corrected myself recently, and it's made the biggest difference. The problem with keeping your elbows out 90 degrees to either side is that's going to bring the bar up towards your neck. Wherever the bar is positioned above your chest is where it's going to be targeting your chest ultimately. So that's a good thing to remember. If you think about it, when you're doing decline pressing, the bar is going to be over your chest, the bottom part of it. And ultimately, that's where it's targeting. Wherever the bar is over your chest at the top of that rep is going to pinpoint where it's hitting on your chest. So if the bar's way up here, it's going to be over your collarbone area. That's going to be putting a lot more work on your actual deltoids, your shoulders, than it is your chest. Now, of course, your chest is a bigger, stronger muscle group than your delts. And your chest is going to hold out longer than your delts, meaning your delts are going to give before your chest does. And if you're bench pressing and you're slowly moving up in weight with your elbows way out here, your deltoids, your rotator cuffs are going to give before your chest does. That's how you run into shoulder injuries most of the time when you're bench pressing. It's because you kept your elbows way out here. That's going to damage your rotator cuff over time as you get more weight on. The perfect isolation movement for the chest that I've learned for bodybuilding that gives you a nice mix of strength and power, but really helps to target the pecs while keeping your delts safe, is to keep a nice happy medium. Not 90 degrees, not pinned against your side, right in the middle, right around 65 degrees. Now, I'm not up on my geometry, but I'm going to say it's around 65 degrees, just slightly inward, and this is going to really allow you to flex your pec. And you're going to see that in this position, the bar is going to be right over the center of your chest, just above your nipple. That's going to really allow you to fully contract and squeeze your pecs. The little method I've always explained is you want to focus on squeezing your chest at the top of that rep, almost like you're hitting the most muscular. You want to ask yourself, if a Flex magazine photographer was standing above you and you had your shirt off during the bench press, at the top of that rep, is your chest flexed hard enough for a photo shoot? Would you be able to show off your chest at the top of that rep? You'll find that a lot of times, if you're at the top of the rep and somebody asks you that, your chest is probably not looking too flexed at all. Your triceps are probably on fire, your delts are probably pushing, your chest may not even be that contracted. So you want to ask yourself, is my chest ready to go for a photo shoot at the top of that rep? And it should be the same way all the way down. Here's where it gets into negatives. I don't count seconds on negatives. I'll start at the top, fully contracted like I'm hitting the most muscular. I picture myself hitting the most muscular on stage. As I bring it down, I focus on slowly unflexing that most muscular and stretching the chest muscles, feeling every fiber stretching them. This is going to allow me to really focus on the chest growth, because the issue with counting negatives, you know, the 3-second negative rule, is people end up focusing so much on just counting, they'll put all the strain right onto their elbows. They'll let their arms and shoulders take everything for them and just focus on counting 1, 2, 3, not even hitting their chest. So I say forget counting, go by how you feel and make sure it's nice and slow. Alright, the biggest difference between using a wide grip and a narrow grip would be this. Using a wide grip with my elbows way out, when I actually bench, you'll notice that there's no real flex in my chest. No matter how hard I try to push, how slow I go, you don't really see my chest popping. It stays kind of flat because there's no real range of motion in my chest. It's all going right to my shoulders. This is not going to allow for any contraction in the chest. It's not going to allow for any targeting or growth. Now, with my grip close and my elbows in, like a powerlifting movement, same deal. I can go right down here, and I'm going to be able to push up a lot more weight now with my grip nice and close like this. But again, it's not really flexing my chest. It's covering a lot more of my shoulders and triceps this time. So what I do is I don't even go too much by the rings. You can, if you just find out a good happy medium for you. I say find a grip that allows your elbows to form a right angle, and that'll be a good width for you. But again, it's all relative. Do a happy medium for yourself. Different people have different arm spans, so there's real no one place to put it. And I keep my elbows at a 65-degree angle, not pinned against my side, not way out to either side, right in the middle. I bring it down to just at nipple level, explode up. And now you can see this really allows me to fully flex my chest. I get good contraction, my chest is able to explode up and really stretch, contract. You can see the full range of motion in my chest. It's just like I'm hitting the most muscular. You can see it flex and contract, stretch, etc. It's the biggest difference. So mid stance, right down to the nipples, push the elbows forward, explode up.